Sims 2, Machinima, Sims 3, Machinima, Sims 4, Machinimas. Can we just give these people a budget to do some live action-y stuff at some point? Because a lot of y'all have talent, while some of y'all just kind of talk big and I get bored easily. But we here to talk about something that makes me forget that West Side Story is a musical that exists instead of something that's just toilet paper. But enough about me taking dig. Let's get it popping correctly with an intro.
I know that this is my destiny. I was at my lowest, he saw the best of me. All of my doubts are the rest in peace. Buried them deep in the leg, I can work with the rest of me. Yes, I am blessed, never stress, disconnect from all my demons. They can never get the best of me. Truly blessed to be a...
Hello everybody, welcome back to Nomadic Reviews. God, I have no idea how to start this one off because after trying to get some stuff pre-recorded, I got a little bit in a tizzy. Great Heights. It's a relatively fresh show on the scene. In contrast to other machinimas I've technically reviewed on this show and are gonna be on Magi Critiques relatively soon. If you guys don't know what that show is, just wait until the update video. So here I am looking at something that's a slice of life but with a little bit of a gritty edge. Reserve all sort of functions on that matter, and we're just gonna dive into at least one of three topics because I want to try and dive into this a little bit more once the show is completely done. The plot or plots so far in The Great Heights are not really as intertwined as you might think. A bunch of friends that we kind of meet at a cafe all have their own individual problems and mishaps and misfortunes. One is in a relationship with a married man that won't leave his wife because, hey, she has money, and although he is closetly gay, he's not going to give up the fringe benefits. One person's trying to pay some stuff through school from the same kid that is also being heavily in the closet and getting that money, but won't even submit himself to at least listen to other people's plights. Another story is about someone having a gambling problem that may or may not lead them to going on to some drug trips, that may or may not lead them to some certain deaths. One person is going through a weird domestic abuse scenario while also confronting one of their friends who has gone through some very eye-opening, life-changing experiences.
So, Lex, do you know what LGBTQ plus is? I'm the T.
Well, I was gonna say that haircut, but yeah, they're trans. And a whole bunch of other stuff that feels less connected in the same vein of life is not that connected to all of us as a whole, since not every story is meant to intertwine itself. So, what I'm trying to give as the big thing here is that for many people that want to go into the market of slice of life narratives, I feel like, and this is just from all of the years I've been doing this, from acting, writing, and blah blah blah, it's that when you try to intertwine too many plots to be the same thing as an overarching storyline, instead of just having it be plots A, B, C, D, and they can converge as like friends that need each other to solve said problems that don't happen to have their whole problems intertwined in the same mix, it's then more organic to where we don't have to worry or be in a weird quasi-relationship of should we care about this plot where this one is more interesting since it's intertwined that way. When they're able to breathe on their own, it's a little bit better to digest because that's how life is. Not everyone has the same exact battles, stripes, memories, so forth and so on, because that's, again, how life works. We're all got that different life path thing going on to make it a lot more compelling, entrancing, and very much I gotta sink my teeth into that juice thing. And thus far, the director seems to get that grasp of it, But at the same time, I've seen a lot of good directors fall into the whole thing of everything must be intertwined in the same vein, and that's when it starts to tumble down to not be as good. But I'm going to reserve my judgment until the season finale, because then we can get into all the stuff in a better capacity. So, in a lot of different aspects, I've known many people to say I should be critiquing Sims Machinima artists on how they direct people in voice acting. That is not something I'm able to do because there is a tier list I will be getting into for a different video, which is why I don't feel like critiquing voice acting for Machinima artists and ASMR artists is the same as critiquing voice actors. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, wait till that thing comes out. Be that as it may, when it comes to characters, a lot of these don't feel like caricatures in certain ways, but they also feel like they're still being flushed out. I feel like the only character I could be attached to right now is Avery, our female to male character that's going through their own storyline that at heart feels like something of the hopeless romantic still trying to get their life sorted out, and then we start to get back into certain avenues of what it's like to be through the eyes of someone that's trans and still trying to go through the motions. The first 3 episodes gives away so heavily how so many people won't look at you the same because your eyes give away so much more than what your body is trying to tell of the journey. And that's going to be the whole big hallmark about who is going to see you as your true self and who's going to judge you on the prejudice of what you have been. Second bit, I feel like the only person I could probably get more attached to is Marcus. Marcus is, quite frankly, someone that's trying to be either the player or someone that's trying to be the extra smooth person. He's trying to be the Kyle Barker of the group, but coming off more like Overton Wakefield Jones. It's never as smooth as he hopes for, because he comes off more dopey than what needs to be done, but then he also falls into some stuff where he's kind of like Bel Air's Carlton in a way, where it's a slippery slope between trying to be the best but also succumbing to the worst environments around you to go into those certain factors and whatnot, and then it just becomes disheartening if you notice what could or couldn't be befalling. And that's not to say that the other characters aren't compelling or interesting or have anything of note to make them into a good character or someone that I'm gonna like further on down the line. I just don't feel that big attachment right now because certain characters don't feel as fleshed out, the motives don't feel as clear as they need to be, their endgame isn't as spelled out as it should be, and it doesn't feel like a connectivity is going to be prominent because it seems like more hesitation in the writing rather than the execution from the acting itself. And that is a huge and heavy mark I usually look into for other writers, directors, and producers, because how you then convey that stuff is a lot more prevalent than just the animation quality is this, how someone delivered a line is that. It's more about how you're telling the same story that you've seen in your head and how you want to see it go the distance, but then you're kind of second-guessing your every last move to then just draw back the line about where it is you want as your finale. For a slice of life, it can be forgivable to some people, but if you're trying to tell a grand narrative that's supposed to be your jumping off point to maybe you want this to be animated or live action, have this be your portfolio that actually screams something where everyone is more than just a blank canvas that still is hard to pin down. God, that sounded harsh. I feel like my wife is judging me. One more bit that many people want me to try and touch on is animation. But if you've heard me talk about this numerous times for other machinimas I've reviewed, and will probably review more because of the recommendations people keep throwing at my goddamn doorstep. I can't really judge them on what they do animation-wise because Maxis and the coding that it does is so stilted, it's sometimes hard to get the proper things you need. But now that I've gotten that out of my system, we're gonna instead talk about the musical arrangement. One of my favorite things when it comes to production for things. As it stands for anything involving scene-by-scene direction, silence is only for stuff where it's you don't want to get sued for copyright claims because copyright law is a bitch, or for stuff that needs that whole quiet setting, whether it's for certain live streams, or for just you trying to have a certain night out where you're just reading to a bunch of kids, and then they're just trying to throw milk cartons at you. In that whole aspect of what I'm trying to go across this weird diatribe, you're probably thinking I went on a rambling fit for. It's the musical accompaniment that can lead to those silences of either uncomfortableness or stuff that's of dread and despair. The musical accompaniment can mean a lot of different fathoms of what needs to be done, and Phase Studios, I feel like I'm saying the thing right, they know how to uphold what they want to create with how they want to set the tone, the pace, the everything and all things involving how a scene direction can be. Whether it's for a small thing where it's the rainfall is dropping down, people are talking in a cafe in one area while someone else is having a heartbreaking situation elsewhere. You can have a melodic tone that's half upbeat, half sorrowful, and it can then peter back into something to match up the same tone, or just dampen out to silence to let the moment speak for itself. Can they keep up the same exact formula for what they need to have done? I feel like it's possible. Will it be done, though? That is a giant will they, won't they, because anyone can fumble the bag. We're all capable of fumbling the bag. But we gotta make sure that what we do next is a smart follow-through. And that's not just for creatives or for critics, it's just for people that just want to do anything properly. Because anyone can fuck up. Literally anybody can fuck up. Overall, for anyone involved for what can or cannot be ascertained in what we have thus far, Great Heights isn't a bad series. I've seen some bad machinimas, some of which I will cover in due time when stuff allows me to, but in all things considered, this is neither a bad series nor is it lackluster. I feel like for many of the shows I cover on this entire series that I do, it has potential to be something great and, quite frankly, on the high tier stuff that I enjoy to watch in my free time. I just want the director and the cast and crew to maybe hunker down a little bit more on certain facets that I have covered prior, along with a few things I'll go into when the series is completed for a much more thorough review. Right now, though, I can only state but so much because I'm waiting for more episodes to come out, and I know a lot of people find that to be a little infuriating, but it's better to cook up everything when the entire ingredients are on the table, know what I mean? Like, if I just went into this whole thing, maybe from how it's standing, this would only get, like, a middle-tier review because of how it's been left thus far, and that's not fair. Same thing I would do for Invisible, or if I were just trying to review all the stuff for Intertwined without really watching everything in full, or the Canopsia Effect where I only just see the first handful of episodes and not the full thing. I'd rather look into the full-blown production first, then type up, and then record what is necessary. Hopefully this gets released on time, but hey, YouTube is always screwing over the little guy, so who knows? But until the series is completed, I'm going to put this on the further review segment thing, where we're going to definitely touch back on this when the series is done. It's a very long list of stuff I need to get back to, and I really do want to give this show the review that it deserves. But I'm just gonna keep real with you guys. I got a lot of stuff I need to get done, and I gotta also pace myself. I got so much to do, so many things to get done. I'm exhausted. And guys, that is everything I have for this installment of Nomadic Reviews. Next time, I'm going to be doing my first ever voice acting critique. The first of 12. I've selected at least 11 of the voice actors already, and my wife is trying to send somebody my way, but I'm a very selective son of a bitch, to where everything I tend to do is very much a nitpicky thing, cause certain VAs I want to rip into, I don't feel like deserve the spotlight.
If you know, you know.
God, I need more sleep. Or I just need to finally embrace what is known as a normal person nap. Can someone get this fucking camera out of my face before I just karate chop somebody in the throat?
Boy, you crazy!